From the Kingdome in Seattle, Washington, CBS Sports presents the New Orleans Saints versus the Seattle Seahawks. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully along with George Allen. Welcome to the great indoors of the Pacific Northwest. And in a word, offense.
Yes, it is, Vin. Both quarterbacks are very similar. Both can run and pass and scramble, and both have a good set of running backs. I think the Saints have the best combination of running backs in football.
Add to that some exciting wide receivers.
Yes, excellent receivers that always catch a lot of passes, and both have defenses that at times are quite porous.
Yet would there be one other department where the difference might lie?
I think it is. I think the difference today could be in the kicking game.
And, of course, in the kicking, it's Herman Weaver and Rick Partridge punting, Garo Yepremian, Efren Herrera when it comes to field goals and points. Right now, with all that in mind, let's go down to the floor of the Kingdome for the New Orleans Saints and the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks won the toss of the coin. They've elected to receive, so Garo Yepremian with the ball teed up on the 35-yard line. Moore and Green are deep for Seattle, and it'll come to Jeff Moore on the 11-yard line to the 25, across the 35, and knocked out of bounds. Special teams, you can keep an eye on Jim Kovacs, number 52, hustling down the field, George, and I know you like those special teams.
Yeah, Kovac is one of their better special team guys. You have your real physical people on the kickoff coverage team, and he comes over and makes the tackle, knocks him out of bounds, and also forced a fumble, but the ball was out of bounds.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for Jim Zorn and company on the Seattle 37-yard line. McCullum going wide left. Rabel is wide right. Largent is in motion. And Zorn going quickly to Largent. And he takes a hard lick at the 39-yard line and goes out of bounds. Felton hit him along with Hughes.
Well, we should see a wide open ball game. That first formation Seattle used, they used motion. They ended up with in a spread formation with one back remaining, and Zorn came right out throwing. I think the big thing we should watch for today on both sides is their pass rush. The pass rush is going to be the key thing.
Moore and Benjamin are now split behind Zorn. It is 2nd and 3 on the Seattle 44 with Moore in motion. Zorn on a draw to Benjamin, and he's upended at the line of scrimmage by Bennett, and then he falls forward for a couple and picks up the first down. I believe they're going to measure, so he should hold on that call, but it appeared when he fell forward he picked it up. Tony Benjamin is big enough. He's 6'3", 225, playing for Sherman Smith. Sherman Smith, normally starting for Seattle, has a back injury coming off the game last week where he scored 3 touchdowns against Cleveland.
Yeah, what a job he's done for the Saints. They're going to miss Sherman Smith, not just as a runner, but as a receiver.
And among other things, Smith, going into the game, had handled the ball 178 times this year with only 1 fumble. So he's got great hands as well as good wheels. So it'll be 1st and 10. The ball on the Seattle 48, and they go slot left. There goes Benjamin again, running into a crowd. Derlin Moore got him right about at the shoulders and brings him down at midfield. Final score, and that just comes in. Buffalo defeating Green Bay 19-12. For Seattle and for New Orleans, a very big ball game. New Orleans trying to win and take a game lead over Los Angeles. The Rams playing Atlanta tomorrow night. And for Seattle, of course, they are desperate, trying to get to the 500 mark and stay alive in the AFC West. Zorn on a 2nd and 8. Throwing on the run, and it is complete on a great catch by Largent.
Wow.
And he's down at the 34-yard line of New Orleans, 1st down.
Largent deserves the credit for this. They end up in a 3 left formation offensively. He rolls out, he's under pressure. Now watch Largent come back for the ball. This is what makes this reception. Comes back into the ball. He was covered. If he doesn't come back, the ball's incomplete or intercepted.
Largent needs 175 yards to reach the 1,000 mark for the 2nd straight year. 1st and 10 on the Saints 34. Zorn to Moore with Newton blocking for him, and Moore is across to the 20-yard line. Myers finds finally bringing him down at the New Orleans 20, and the Seahawks are on the move.
Well, Vin, you know what makes that possible? You're playing pass defense, you're covering, you're backpedaling, you're retreating. Now they run the ball, you're going backwards, you get a couple of blocks, and you get a long gainer.
The New Orleans Saints have allowed more than 21 points in 4 games this year. They've lost all 4 of them, needless to say. Their other defeat, 10-3. Jack Patera watching his Seahawks on a move. 1st and 10 on the New Orleans 20. Moore and Benjamin behind Zorn. Play action fake, and he's going to be nailed and fumbled. The ball is picked up, juggled by Reese, still loose. Picked up finally by Tom Myers, who recovers it on the 40-yard line.
Well,
and so New Orleans dodges a bullet.
What the Saints did, they had the right defense called at the right time. Play action pass. There's a dog coming in from the top of the screen. Hits him from the blind side. Fumble. Saints recover. They took a chance here lateraling this ball. Watch this. Big play.
Thunderbird, Thunderbird, Thunderbird. Spread your wings in the new 1980 Thunderbird. Introducing a Thunderbird of new contemporary size that shows its elegant heritage wherever you look. Outside, inside. Yet it's remarkably priced, and that includes automatic transmission, power steering, power brakes, vinyl roof, and more. The new size Thunderbird, a better idea for the 80s.
Take care of your car at Kmart. Our automotive service centers care.
Now here's something that anyone can use. Our best quality 40-piece standard and metric socket wrench set. A combination 1/4 and 3/8 drive with a full unconditional duration warranty. Just $17.88 now through November 24th at Kmart Automotive Centers across the U.S., where quality car products are Kmart priced.
Jim Zorn is trying to find out where linebacker Pat Hughes came from, and Tom Myers, the veteran safety man, picked up the fumble, and New Orleans dodges a bullet. They have it 1st and 10 on their own 38. Galbraith and Muncie back of Manning. And it'll be Galbraith blocked by Muncie, and Galbraith is passing, and Wes Chandler has it on the 20-yard line. 15-yard line, Autry Beeman brought him down.
What a great opening call. Just a tremendous call. Your defense run with Galbraith coming out, show and run real
That's
well.
His 2nd pass of the year, by the way.
And he had the arm strength. He's wide open. And now watch the move by Chandler. When Chandler gets that ball, his quickness, he's a great runner with the ball after the catch. Tremendous call, tremendous execution.
So from the New Orleans 38, it goes to the Seahawk 15-yard line. 1st and 10, New Orleans. Manning, a quick one to Chandler, who goes against the grain. He's going to go in a foot race the other way. And Chandler inside the 5, down to about the 4-yard line. 1st and goal for New Orleans.
Very good imagination on the play calling. A quick screen, and Chandler will run anywhere. He goes against the grain. He's a tremendous runner. Tremendous quickness. Very seldom will one man bring him down. He almost scores here. Good creative play calling.
So after the Jim Zorn fumble, after he was hit by Pat Hughes and recovered by Tom Myers on 2 electrifying plays, a pass play by Tony Galbraith, and then that run by Chandler. 1st and goal on the Seattle 4. Play action fake. Manning is going to keep, and he's going to find the corner. Touchdown. For Manning, that is his 2nd touchdown rushing this year. He had a 4-yard average, and he went for the TD.
Another fine call. Play action, roll out. He's got the lineman in front of him. He can run or pass. They're playing pass. He runs it in. A beautiful series, Vin. Just tremendous.
Boy, you talk about a stunning turn of events. 1 minute, Seattle on a roll, went from their own 37 to a 1st and 10 on the New Orleans 20. Zorn fumbled, and kabloom, from their own 38. In 4 plays, New Orleans scored. Make it 3 plays. Yepremian kicks her up, and it's good. And so with 10 minutes and 13 seconds left to go in the first quarter, the score, the New Orleans Saints 7 and the Seattle Seahawks nothing.
When the only sound is the frozen silence of winter, you go to work. Clearing a long, thin slice of track through a land where nothing moves except you. And when you've finally thrown the last mountain of snow back into the sky, you can head for home and Miller time. Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life, America's quality beer since 1855.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller tastes too good to hurry through. When it's time to relax, we've got the beer. Miller Beer. Miller Beer.
You got married because you knew you were second rate. You're over the hill and you know it. You keep...
Anne Bancroft and Shirley MacLaine star in a special movie presentation, The Turning Point, Monday at 9, 8 Central.
And the big play, Tony Galbraith's pass from the New Orleans 38, complete to the Saints, moving it to the Seahawk 15, and they eventually went into scores. 7-0 New Orleans. Yepremian kicking off, and coming up for it is Moore on his 8-yard line. Jeff to the 20, 25, across the 30, and brought down by Holmes at the 34-yard line. And the Seahawks will put it in play 1st and 10. Dick Nolan, who saw his ball club go to the playbook for 3 marvelous plays. Galbraith pass, then the pass to Chandler, and then Manning rolling in. Jack Patera, who does not want to be called coach. He likes to be called Jack. He calls his players by their names, and he said, if you call me coach, I'm going to call you player. Well, it's 1st and 10 on the Seahawk 34. Dornink is in there now with Moore. Largent in motion. And Dan Dornink, who is out across the 40 and brought down by Fetterspiel at the 41-yard line. So Dornink is banged up, but he's in there.
You know, Vin, the Saint defense set up that touchdown. The Saint defense, statistic-wise, are not up there, but they're playing good football. They're playing better football than a lot of people realize. And with that offense they have, this ball could be very explosive down the stretch and win the division or make the playoffs.
2nd and 2, ball just across the 41-yard line. Dornink and Moore behind Zorn. Largent again in motion. And it'll be a draw, and they read it. And reading it well was Derlin Moore to bring him down at the 44-yard line. Moore, number 74, in on the hit.
You know, another thing over the years I found out, when you score first, when you score in 2 or 3 or 4 plays, sometimes there's a tendency to let down. And many times a team that scores easily, whether you're at home or on the road, it turns out to be a disadvantage.
There's Mano Tuiasosopo, along with the other defensive players for Seattle, hoping that the Hawks can keep the ball and tie things up in the early goings here. 9 minutes and 3 seconds left in the first quarter. 7-0 in favor of New Orleans. On a 1st and 10 from the 44, McCullum is left, Largent is right, and it's a quick one to Largent at midfield, held up by Brown and dragged down at the last minute as Bordelon and Chapman finally wrapped him up. But he got it to the New Orleans 49-yard line.
You know, Ben, that last play, when we played the Seahawks, we felt we had to stop Largent short, stop him on possession downs, and stop Sam McCullum 84 deep. Largent short and McCullum deep. And let's see if that holds up today.
2nd and 3 on the New Orleans 49-yard line. 7-0 Saints, but the Hawks on a drive now as they go slot left. Dornink and Moore behind Zorn and Largent in motion. Second man is Moore. He's got Newton blocking on Reese. However, Hughes lets him get outside, and then Hughes drags him out of bounds very close to the first down. It's all a question of where they spot it. Meanwhile, another defensive player taking a breather, and that would be Boyd, who is starting today over Eller. Dennis out of Oregon State.
I like him, Vin. We thought we were going to draft him. We thought he might be available in the 4th round, and they picked him up in the 3rd round.
This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or the use of the telecast without the express written consent of the Seattle Seahawks and the National Football League is prohibited.
Trying to pick up 3, 4, 5 yards. It's plain smart football.
No gain on the play, however, so it's 3rd and 23 from the 16-yard line. Manning, and we certainly see the ball in the air today. Manning is 2 for 3 for 10 yards. Zorn is 4 for 6 for 81. And, of course, he picked up 51 on that one pass play. 3rd and 23. Here comes Muncie, Gregory, and Jackson chasing him. Butler brings him down, and another flag.
And another flag.
Another flag on the play. Oh, let's see the interpretation, and the officials having their hands full on this one. And in a moment, Dick Jorgens now holding against New Orleans.
Well, they'll refuse that.
So it was 3rd and 23. They'll take the down and get the ball on a punt. A 7-7 tie with 3:17 left in the first quarter.
Holding number 34, offense, declined, 4th down.
So Tony Galbraith was guilty of interference. He was also guilty of holding, even though he did make one circus catch. And Jack Patera looking on the Seattle side of the field. He'll get his hands on the ball, although he's hot. So Partridge will be punting from New Orleans 10. He's averaged 41 yards, his longest 61. And he just did get it out of there. Harris retreating to his own 29, to the 35, 40, 45, and out of bounds. 48-yard line of Seattle, where they'll put it in play, 1st and 10. Some final scores. Washington defeating Dallas, and that throws that conference section in a 3-way tie because Philadelphia beat St. Louis. Meanwhile, Buffalo over Green Bay, 19-12. Look what New England did to Baltimore, 50-21. Cleveland in overtime beat Miami, and Chicago rolling along nicely, knocked off the Jets. 1st and 10 on the Seattle 48-yard line. In motion is Largent. Zorn under a rush by Moore, and they set up a screen to Dorning. He's across midfield to the 45, out of bounds, and a flag on the play. He goes out of bounds at the 41-yard line of New Orleans. But let's wait and see about the infraction. There's a clip on it. That's John Yarno, the center of Seattle, trying to move the middleman, Joe Federspiel, out of the way, and he was guilty of the clip.
That was a clip. It was actually kind of a
Push.
foolish push. He didn't have to do that. We talked about pass rush and pass rush counters, and that's about all we've seen, Ben. He opens the 1st and 10 with a screen, and
Personal foul, clipping number 51, offense, still 1st down.
At this rate, we're going to have a wide open ball game.
And Manu Tuiasosopo hopes it's wide open for the Seattle offense. He could use a little breather there as he towels off. 1st and 17 from the Seattle 41. Moore on a draw to midfield. Federspiel, among others, along with Meyer, bringing him down, but he got it back into New Orleans territory to almost the 48-yard line.
With a quarterback like Zorn, that's a tremendously difficult play to defense because he rolls out so much. It's a sprint draw. The linebackers have to stay at home. They can't buzz. They can't get any depth on that. They got to stay at home until he passes the back.
So 2nd and 6 on the New Orleans 48-yard line. The Saints on defense for the moment in a ball game all tied 7-7 with 2:20 left in the first quarter. McCullum is wide right. Rabel is in there wide left, and that's where the tight end is, Peach. Rabel in motion. Zorn a quick out to Rabel, and he is hit just shy of the first down by Chapman, but then he drives forward and he might have made it. Chapman trying to prevent him from getting to the stake, hit him hard, but I think that extra burst by Steve Rabel picked it up anyway.
You know, Ben, at breakfast, you and I were talking. It's very interesting. The Seahawks have a fine passing game, good receivers, and yet their tight end is very seldom in the passing game.
Archie Manning, along with Tony Galbraith, waiting to get their hands on the football again. They scored on 3 plays the first time New Orleans got the leather. But then Seattle came back to tie it up on a 51-yard touchdown pass, Zorn to McCullum. 1st and 10 on the Saints' 42. Second man is Moore. Inside a Newton block, but he is grabbed from behind by Myers at the 40. And would you believe there is yet another flag on the play?
We're going to set a record today at dropping a flag.
There is Sherman Smith, who is banged up. He's got a back injury, which is why he is not playing for Seattle. Sherman scored 3 touchdowns against Cleveland last week, but paid a price. And here's the penalty marked off against Seattle. So they're spotted back on the Seattle 48.
Holding number 51, offense, still first down.
We must have had a half a dozen holding penalties already. 1st and 20 on the Seattle 48. Of course, with scrambling quarterbacks like Zorn and Manning, you're going to get a holding. McCullum is in motion. A little quick release to Gornick, and he's wide open to the 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, down to the 12-yard line. And they really caught the linebackers going back, and the middle was wide open.
That's a design play. It's really a great play and difficult to defense. Watch Dornick block, and then we call it a check cross. Your linebackers get depth. It's a big gainer, a heck of a call. It's part of the passing game. A counter that ties in with the screen and the draw, and the check down to the check cross. Excellent call by Seattle.
So it is 1st and 10 on the New Orleans 11-yard line, and Seattle down 7-0, now trying to take a lead. Largent in motion to the right. Zorn on a draw to Moore, and he runs into people at the 10-yard line, and it's a standoff. They'll spot the ball, I believe, at about, well, he got across the 10 to maybe the 8-yard line. So a pickup of 3, and it'll be 2nd and 7.
That's the sprint draw again, using the sprint draw inside of the 10-yard line.
So 2nd and 7 on the New Orleans 8-yard line. 34 seconds left in the first quarter. All even 7-7. Zorn is 7 out of 9 for 136 yards. Dornick and Moore are behind Zorn, and he's going to put it up. Throwing it just beyond the intended receiver, Moore. So Moore coming out of the backfield. That's Jeff Moore.
He had him open, but Zorn was under pressure. A little bit better pass rush. Watch him get hit just as he throws. Overthrew him. He was open for a possible touchdown.
So it is 3rd and 7 on the New Orleans 8 with 15 seconds left in the first quarter. On the sidelines, Nick Nolan saw his ball club electrify this crowd, scoring on 3 plays. The first time the Saints had their hands on the ball following a Zorn fumble. However, Zorn threw a 51-yard touchdown pass to McCullum to tie it up. And now Zorn asking for time, and he'll go to the sidelines and talk with Jack Patera. We have 15 seconds left in the first quarter. The Saints 7 and the Seahawks 7. The Saints tied with the Rams 5 and 6. So they get to the 500 mark. They put a little extra pressure on the Rams, who play tomorrow night hosting Atlanta.
We've seen quite a bit of that where a quarterback will take timeout. It's a big advantage if he can save those timeouts for the 2-minute drill. However, Zorn was hesitant. He did the right thing rather than run a play and have it backfire.
One thing about Seattle, and it is certainly a bright spot in comparison, In their interconference games in their young 4 years, they have won 7 of the 9 interconference games. But for New Orleans, they would just as soon not talk about it. The New Orleans Saints have the worst interconference record of any team in the NFL. You know how many games they've won interconference? 3. You know how many they've lost? 23. And they've had 2 ties. So you can understand that Dick Nolan has to be a little worried, and the Hawks have to feel somewhat confident they came in here about a 3-point favorite.
But right in here, defensively, you're thinking field goal. The worst thing can happen is that we give them a field goal, but don't give them a touchdown. This is how you have to think on defense, or take the ball away. But you don't want them to score and go behind 14-7.
3rd and 7, the ball on the New Orleans 8-yard line. McCullum in motion to the left. Zorn and Moore are behind Zorn. And Zorn keeping in a crowd, but he's stymied at the line of scrimmage and is dropped at the 9-yard line. Tom Myers, a brilliant defensive safety man, is at the bottom of the pile, along with Bennett on top, but it was Myers who made the play.
Yeah, they dogged him, Vin. A good call. They put the rush on him. When they've dogged, they've been very successful.
So he actually lost a yard back to the 9-yard line. That makes it 4th and 8 on the 9. And Efren Herrera, just as the first quarter runs out, was ready to try for his 7th straight field goal. And so that's the end of the first quarter with the score, Seattle 7 and New Orleans 7.
This is one of the great masterpieces in music. Not Beethoven's Fifth, another pioneer first. The CTF 950 cassette deck with fluoroscan metering and metal tape capability for virtually distortion-free recording. The pioneer CTF 950, the masterpiece that helps you appreciate others like Beethoven's Fifth or Rod Stewart's latest. Pioneer, we bring it back alive.
I never worry about what brand name part my mechanic puts on my car. That doesn't make me a bad guy. I go to a professional mechanic I can trust, so I trust the parts he uses. He uses Mopar. It means nothing to me, but it means a lot to him. Mopar fits all American-made cars, foreign cars too, and they're used by professional mechanics all over the world. If the professional trusts Mopar, I trust Mopar. Does he make me happy? He makes it his business.
Trust your car to Mopar. If a man's lapel begins to rebel and the pockets in his pants become losers, then he needs clothes from Levi's Sportswear. Levi's slacks, blazers, and suits hold their great looks because they're sewn to the tough standards that made the Levi's name famous for durability. Men's clothes from Levi's Sportswear, where quality never goes out of style.
It is 4th and 8 on the New Orleans 9-yard line. Efren Herrera will try and kick his 7th consecutive field goal without a miss. He broke his own Seattle record of 5 straight of last year when he kicked a 34-yard field goal against Cleveland last Sunday. But as we said, the record, Yarrow Yefremian kicked 20 consecutively. The spot at the 17 is up and good, and it's a 27-yard field goal attempt that is cashed in by Efren Herrera, and the Seahawks take the lead for the first time today. As you take a look at the kicking style of Efren, kicked it strong and straight up the middle. 10-7 Seattle. Say, friends, tonight on CBS, a marvelous lineup as we just break the seal on the second quarter. You have 60 Minutes, Archie Bunker's Place, Alice, the Jeffersons, Trapper John, M.D. It's all on CBS tonight.
Well, Zorn has had field position twice. First he scored a touchdown. Next time he brought him down for a field goal. So he's taken advantage of the good field position that he's had.
Now Efren Herrera teeing the ball up on the Seattle 35-yard line. For New Orleans, they have Holmes, Chandler, and Wilson all deep. The middleman is Chandler. And as we mentioned at the start of the game, Rick Maudie is not with the ball club. He usually handles punts and kickoffs, but Maudie had to go to New York because of the death of his family. So Herrera kicks a knuckleball down to the right sidelines where Holmes fields it on the 15-yard line. He's out across the 30, still on his feet to the 35, and falls forward to the 36-yard line. And that's where New Orleans will put it in play. 1st and 10 from their own 36. For Jack Holmes out of Texas Southern, a chance to handle the football.
Well, so far this game has been a little bit similar to what we predicted at the top of the show.
On Keith Simpson, and that opened the door. Flag on the play. Muncie is still going. Jackson drags him down from behind, but there's a flag on the play, and a good block by Galbraith on Keith Simpson, but there might have been an illegal man downfield.
It looked like it, and what a great job Muncie did of running and breaking the tackle. He lowers his shoulder and gives him the inside forearm.
And it'll be holding. The preliminary signal appeared to be. Watch the block. Galbraith on Keith Simpson coming up. Here's 42 right there.
Good block, and he brought his arm around to hold him. Now watch the technique he uses. See how he lowers his shoulder and forearm with his strength and size and good knee action.
Offense, still 1st down.
On the block by Galbraith on Simpson. Evidently, when Galbraith threw the block, he also grabbed Simpson. And Tony Galbraith is guilty of the holding on that block. It was really somewhat more like a tackle. So Tony Galbraith, unfortunately, has been involved in several infractions, and it is 1st and 20. The ball back on the New Orleans 25. Manning pumps, and Tuiasosopo drags him down. He fumbles, and it's picked up by Jackson, and Jackson of the Hawks holding on to the leather. But Jackson, that's Michael Jackson out of the University of Washington.
Well, the pass rush set this up. Manning wants to go deep. Now he tries to run.
Tuiasosopo and Hardy stripped him.
Both together. Brought him down from behind. Another big play for the Seahawks. You know, the Saints haven't done a thing since that opening drive.
1st and 10 on the New Orleans 39-yard line for Seattle, and they're leading 10-7, and they have a golden opportunity to add to that. Zorn with time, going deep down in the end zone to Largent. Flag on the play. Touchdown, even though they threw 2 flags on it.
Well,
Largent beating Felton.
It's on the defense. It's a touchdown. He had him beaten.
It was Felton who was burned by McCullum, and now it is Felton who is burned by Largent.
He had him beaten and he grabbed him, which is a smart thing to do. Don't let him score. They can possibly help it. 2 1st and 10 bombs for touchdowns. Good generalship.
Eric Felton is a drummer, but boy, Seattle is beating a tune on him now. They have thumped him twice for long touchdowns. 2-year man out of Texas Tech. And Dick Nolan in somewhat of a state of shock now. It is 16-7 Seattle, and Herrera will try to make it 17-7. 14 minutes and 18 seconds left in the 2nd quarter. The kick is up, and the kick is good. 17-7, and you'll take one more look. Here is Jim Zorn looking deep. He had his protection. Hughes couldn't get at him. And way down in the deep end of the end zone, Steve Largent has beaten Felton, and there it is, 6 points, even though the flag was against Felton.
The car, the 1980 Mustang. The place, Ford's Test Track, Dearborn. Mustang proves itself a sports car for the 80s. The U.S. Auto Club tested Mustang for acceleration, for cornering, for steering response, for braking, for overall driving performance. The result, Mustang is certified by the U.S. Auto Club as a sports car. Sports car performance, impressive fuel economy. That's Ford Mustang, a sports car for the 80s.
You dance on a river of wood, and the spinning shapes in the cold, dark water are your only bridge home. So you keep on dancing until the last log is in place and you can head for Miller time. Time for the best tasting beer you can find, Miller High Life.
When it's time to relax, we've got the beer, Miller beer. If you've got the time, we've got the beer.
That's Eric Felton. He's only 24 years old, 2 years out of Texas Tech, and he's been burned badly twice by Sam McCullum and Steve Largent. You have to commiserate with the youngster. Boy, when you're burned, you are naked to the world. That ball got by Hardy, but it's recovered by Holmes, who fumbles out of bounds. New Orleans will keep the ball, and they'll spot it on the Saints' 26-yard line. They'll take over 1st and 10.
And the reason he got burned, Ben, is that he's letting the receiver get right on him. He's letting him get right on him and sometimes beyond him before he's making a move. He's waiting for a move in front of him, and they're going right by him, and it's smart football by Zorn, going deep on 1st and 10 and on a quick count.
Well, now let's see what Archie Manning can do. 1st and 10 on the Saints' 26-yard line. Muncy and Galbraith are back of him. Chandler is right, and Harris is left. Muncy with a block by Zanders, and brought down by Hardy with Gregory on top of him as he got to the 34-yard line. So he picked up 8. It'll be 2nd and 2.
I like the way he runs. I like the way he picks his legs up. Here comes Dobler off, limping.
Conrad Dobler hurting his left knee or ankle, and the Saints assist him to the sideline. Dobler is coming off knee surgery.
They'd really miss him. He's also a leader, and he's done a fine job for him.
So they're going to spot the ball at the 34-yard line, 2nd and 2. Archie Manning and the Saints are down 17-7 with 13:48 left to the half. Chandler in motion to the right. Manning to Galbraith, and he's got something to run for. He's out across the 40, dragged down by Jackson, and he got out to the 43 at least and picked up the 1st down. Galbraith has to be steaming because he's had 3 or 4 calls against him. One of them broke a beautiful run from Muncy when he was guilty of holding. Conrad Dobler being ministered to on the New Orleans sidelines and just sitting and waiting. What is it they also serve who only stand and wait? There's Carl Eller. 1st and 10 on the 43 of New Orleans. And a pitch back to Muncy. He has Zanders and Woods blocking, but he is hit hard by Beeson. And Beeson carries him out of bounds before he can get to the 45-yard line. A couple of scores of other ball games now. Houston leading Cincinnati 14-7 in the 2nd quarter. San Diego in a big one leading Pittsburgh 7-0. San Francisco a surprising early lead over Denver 7-3 in the 2nd quarter. And Kansas City leading Oakland 10-0 in the 2nd. It'll be 2nd and 9. On the 44, and let's listen to Archie Manning. Manning getting some protection and throws it hard, and it's completed to Muncy. Look at him carry that ball one-handed. Boy, is he asking for a fumble, but he picked up the 1st down. Whoa.
That ball, he almost broke that tackle, too. He's a powerful runner. The way he brings his legs up. Now, this was a good call. It was an underneath pattern. Both backs going out weak side, and a halfback coming across gives him a chance to run with the football. Now watch him carry the ball. What Vin was talking about.
And Butler almost stripped it on him.
He went for the ball.
So it is 1st and 10 on the Seattle 42-yard line. In motion is Ike Harris. Play action fake to Muncy, and Manning setting up. Lobbing it all alone is his tight end, Henry Childs. Henry's to the 15, Dazzling to the 10, almost losing his pants, and he goes out of bounds at the 9. It was Keith Simpson who had a hold of the back of Henry Childs' pants, and the big tight end has now caught a pass in all 12 games this year, the only player on the Saints to do so.
Well, this was another good call. Play action. Childs slow blocking and then coming across underneath. Watch his ability to run with the ball after the catch. We've said this before. Childs is an underrated tight end. He can go deep, he can catch short, and he can block.
He was the #1 tight end in the NFL last year. 1st and goal on the 8. Manning to Galbraith, and he butts heads with Beeson and gets across the 5-yard line and dropped at the 4. Boy, Terry Beeson and Tony Galbraith almost breaking helmets on that collision.
Beeson is a hitter. He was a tremendous draft choice, and he's doing a fine job for Seattle. He's going to be an all-pro linebacker many years before his career is over.
He's had sore ribs the last couple of weeks, but he doesn't miss a stroke out there. By the way, the Seattle Ball Club set its own new club record. They've had 30 sacks so far this year. They had 26 all last year. Second and goal from the 4 for Archie Manning. Tony Galbraith bumping into Robert Woods, and that ruined the play. Robert Woods, the guard, pulled, and Galbraith bumped into him.
Slowed him down. Didn't get a chance to get any momentum going. Held him up.
Woods is the guard on the right side, and when he pulled, he and Galbraith just collided, and that broke up that play. So it'll be third and goal from the 4.
Here comes Chandler and Ike Harrison now.
And they take out the tight ends. That would be Williams and Hardy. Harris goes wide right. Chandler is left. Third and goal from the 4 for Archie Manning. Manning looking left, lobbing left. He's got Chandler for a touchdown. Chandler getting behind Brown and bringing New Orleans right back into it. It's Seattle 17, New Orleans 13.
Watch Chandler come back for the ball. Brown's got him covered pretty well. Now watch him come back for the ball and take the position away from Brown. Nice throw up high where he can go up and get it. That was a smart drive, and he used his running game, didn't just throw the ball all the way.
That's the 6th touchdown scored by Wes Chandler. Now Garo Yepremian trying to make it 14 points for the Saints. The spot, the kick is good. And so with 9:58 to go to the half, Seattle 17 and the Saints 14. And here's another look as Archie Manning cranks up for his touchdown pass. Wes Chandler handling it easily to beat Brown and get it close again.
And this is where we keep the Sony.
This is my wife, these are my kids, this is my Sony.
The difference between you and me, Perkins, is that you own a television and I own a Sony.
There's one television people are proud enough of to brag about. The only television with the patented one-gun, one-lens system that won an Emmy. There's only one Trinitron, and it's from Sony, the one and only.
I think Henry's getting serious. Last night he gave me a Sony.
7 copiers not only make great copies, they also make great copy.
Financial World. Its Series 700 models are proven winners. Forbes. Savin 750 copier was an overnight success. Sales and marketing management. Savin in 1 year raced from a standing start to first place in installing machines.
In fact, last year Savin outplaced Xerox and IBM combined. We wouldn't be winning over big business unless we offered big advantages. Savin, the revolutionary copiers that are winning over big business.
Thursday at 12:30, the Chicago Bears invade Lion Country for a holiday showdown with Detroit. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Don't forget football on CBS on Thanksgiving Day, noon Eastern Time, Chicago versus Detroit. Garo Yepremian kicking off for New Orleans and kicks it down the left sideline. Jeff Moore takes it on his 11 to the 20, 25. So Merlo making the tackle for New Orleans. Here is Jim Merlo, number 57. You can take a look at him on the special teams. Merlo, a linebacker. Play action fake to Dorning. They give to Moore, and Moore sees some daylight. He's out and fumbles the ball after the whistle out of bounds. And the ball actually going out of bounds at around the 41-yard line. Meanwhile, the New York Giants playing at Tampa Bay, and in checking that precinct, Tampa Bay leading the Giants 7-0 in the second quarter.
You know, both clubs now are establishing the running game. Manning set up his drive with some big plays on the ground, and now Zorn's doing the same thing. Now that'll help their passing game.
So it is 1st and 10 on the Seattle 42. Dorning and Moore behind Zorn. Play action fake to Dornick. Zorn out to the left of Largent at the 48, and he fakes Chapman out and is finally banged out of bounds at the last minute by Brown.
Boy, Largent is quick. He has tremendous hands. Very seldom drops the ball. Runs precise patterns. He gets open with his moves. He doesn't have the speed, the racehorse speed. He gets open by making good moves and the use of his fine hands.
So it'll be 1st and 10 on the New Orleans 42-yard line, 17-14 Seattle. Largent, number 80, going wide left, McCullum wide right. Each man has burned New Orleans. Zorn on a draw to Jeff Moore, but he is hit by Bennett at the line of scrimmage and then falls forward a yard. But it was Barry Bennett out of Concordia in Minnesota, number 63, who hit him head on.
That's that sprint draw again that they've used so effectively. One of these times, Zorn's going to fake it to him and keep the ball and run or pass.
Jeff Moore doing the heavy duty for Sherman Smith. Moore, a rookie out of Jackson State. So it is 2nd and 8. The ball is on the New Orleans 40-yard line. Both McCullum and Largent go on the left side. Rabel is on the right side. Joining. And a flag on the play.
Another flag, yeah.
Holding against Seattle. The numbers so far, Zorn is 9 out of 12 for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. Can you imagine that?
Sure.
191 yards. And for Jim Zorn, he needs 320 yards
Holding,
for 10,000.
number 76, offense, still 2nd down.
That's Steve August, 3 years out of Tulsa. He might take a look. If you look to the right of your screen, you can see number 76, Steve August. He has his hands full of Aloy's grooms. 2nd and 18.
Well, they want a different ball or some stick-em on it or something. Want to change the ball.
2nd and 18. Ball just shy of midfield.
That's the center's responsibility to call the referee's attention, call the official's attention to that so the quarterback doesn't get it and fumble it.
So we'll see about Zorn 2nd and 18 from midfield. He has McCullum left, Rabel right. He has Peets on a wing, and he has Largent in the backfield with Dorning. Reese trying to come in, but he can't get there, and the pass no good. It was intended for McCullum. He was trying to come back and get it, but the pass overthrown. There's that football that had too much stickum on him.
Now, he had him open on that, just overthrew him. McCullum drove him off and came back and ran a deep out.
And they were picking on Eric Felton again. He had Felton in motion going deep, and then he tried to turn and come back on him, but the pass OB.
Usually in that case, Ben, you got to give that defensive back some help. If the quarterback has time to throw, there's no way you're going to cover a fast receiver one-on-one deep.
Zorn is 9 for 13 for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns, all in the first half. 3rd and 18 from midfield. In a slot left, McCullum inside Largent. Zorn setting up and firing, coming across at McCullum, and is dragged down by McGill at the 35-yard line, but he had to get to inside the 33 for a first down. So on 3rd and 18, he comes up a couple of yards shy.
Well, they're worried about 84 deep. McCullum deep, and he starts deep and comes across, which was a pretty good call. He didn't pick up the first down. They're going to try a field goal now.
It'll be 4th and 2. And the line of scrimmage is the 35-yard line, and Efren Herrera has kicked 7 straight. Will be trying to make it 8 in a row. The hold by Jim Zorn. And now, wait a minute. They come out of that, and Herrera suddenly goes to the wide receiver. Zorn looking to the left, being chased by Reese. He can run for the first down. He's got the first down. Yes, sir. How about that?
Smart play.
Boy, yeah. We have already had some wide open calls.
Well,
look at Herrera.
Yeah, they faked the field goal. Efren Herrera lines up as a wide receiver. Now, they had pretty good pressure on Zorn. Now, watch. But it's all inside pressure. Now he can run for the first down. He did the smart thing and then got out of bounds. I don't think I'd put too many men covering Efren Herrera.
No. Well, he ran it to the New Orleans 32, where it is 1st and 10. And Seattle leading 17-14, and this is as wide open a football game as you'll see. Dorning and Moore behind Zorn. Zorn looking to the right side, throwing to Dorning, and he is hit by Brown and dropped at the 25-yard line. A pickup of 7, so it'll be 2nd and 3.
Well, he's thrown a lot on first down, keeping them honest over there. They're faking deep now and coming underneath.
By the way, Zorn has now passed for over 200 yards in the first half. He's 11 for 15 for 214 yards as you see Minnesota knocked off Detroit 14-7. 2nd and 3 on the 25 of New Orleans. Largent wide left and Zorn hollering over to him. And they give to Moore inside, a block by Lynch, and he's going to go to the 15. Felton brings him down, otherwise he's all the way. Eric Felton making the tackle on Jeff Moore at about the 13-yard line.
You know, we haven't seen Moore play. He looks like he's a pretty good back. He's got more quickness and speed than you would think. He reverses his field and makes a good yard. Watch his feet. Good tackle. Moore is getting a chance today, and he's coming through.
1st and 10, and they've spotted the ball on the New Orleans 14-yard line. 6:20 left in the half. The Seahawks leading the Saints 17-14. McCullum in motion right. And they give it to Big Dorning, and he's got daylight inside the 5. It'll be a 1st and goal.
Well, what a wide open ball game. He fakes a late on this and a quick handoff to Dornick, a big hole. Saints were playing pass defense. They're retreating. That's what happens. You don't need much blocking when you're going backwards.
It'll be 1st and goal on the 2-yard line. The Saints have given up 4.8 yards per rush. Seattle 4.7 all year. So it's a wide open game. 1st and goal from the 2. And Sherman Smith is now in there with Dan Dorning. They give to Dorning. Touchdown! Dan Dorning powering over for his 7th touchdown rushing this year. No finesse, just full strength to get it in there.
Notice how he was carrying that ball. Well protected. Here it is again. He starts out with 2 hands on the ball. And that's what I like to see down in there. You don't want to make a mistake down in there. Fine drive again by Zorn. It looks like one offense is going to have to outscore the other offense.
That's about it. I think the last team to have the ball will be the team to win this one. It's 23-14 Seahawks. Herrera now trying to make it a 10-point lead. It's up and good. Let's take one more look. Dan Dorning carrying the ball. Sherman Smith blocking on the left side. Merlo. And Dorning backing into the end zone for a touchdown. A good block by Sherman Smith on Jim Merlo.
Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special.
Hey, where you been? Well, it wasn't easy getting tickets for this game. Hey, Bob. Eddie, I know exactly what I want. I want the biggest steak you've got and a bottle of Lowenbrow. Steak and Lowenbrow. Dolan, you're a genius.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
Here's to the chef.
Here's to the bartender.
The more aerodynamic shape a vehicle has, the easier it slips through the air. And that's what happened to this pickup truck. Announcing the first new truck of the 80s, the new Ford. It's aerodynamically designed so it's more slippery than last year, has less drag, with the best gas mileage rating of any American-built standard pickup. And there's all that Ford-built toughness. Ford's most popular half-ton pickup can carry 293 pounds more payload than a comparable Chevrolet. Built Ford Tough.
Don't forget, tomorrow night, join the Peanuts gang for the award-winning special of Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Then MASH, The Turning Point with Shirley MacLaine and Ann Bancroft. What a beautiful evening tomorrow night on CBS. And look at that Seattle Seahawks prancing right now to the tune of a 24-14 lead. Herrera hits a knuckleball down the left side, and it will be touched and smothered by Williams. Williams falling on the ball at about the 28-yard line.
Williams did the smart thing. He was hoping that ball would go out of bounds, and it didn't. It stayed in. See that? The ball does not go out of bounds. They could have lost that. He did the smart thing, get on the ball.
So for Archie Manning and company, they'll put it in play 1st and 10 from their own 28. And Dick Nolan saw his Saints score on 3 explosive plays the first time they got the ball, and they haven't really been heard from since. 1st and 10 on the Saints 28. Chandler in motion to the right. Flag on the play. The pass to Galbraith, but he is boxed in by Beeson, and then Butler and Jackson make sure he goes nowhere. Dick Nolan talking particularly to linebacker Pat Hughes along with safety man Dave Brown as to how to stop Zorn. Zorn is 11 for 15, 214 yards.
Well, Dick's doing the right thing there. When you get burned like that, you got to talk to him and give him a little security, give him a little confidence. Zorn's in the driver's seat. He's done a tremendous job, has had great field position, but has taken advantage of it. That's the other thing.
Illegal formation, only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Offense, still first down.
They've made a lot of mistakes on offense this half.
San Diego scoring again to take a 2-touchdown lead over Pittsburgh, 14-0 in the second quarter. So it is 1st and 15 from the 23. Manning going deep to the left side and completes it to Harris, who is pushed out of bounds by Webster, and he is about 1.5 yards shy of picking up the first down. Meanwhile, the Seattle offense being lectured to, Steve Largent and company. The penalty, the flag, goes against New Orleans.
Another big play call back. Ike Harris did a fine job. He came back for the ball.
(24-14) Seattle, 5 minutes and 1 second to the half in a game that figures to be high in scoring and high on penalties. The holding penalty against Robert Woods of New Orleans. San Francisco leading Denver first 7-3, now 14-10 in the second quarter. But of course, San Francisco, winners of one game, they have been out in front early in a lot of games.
Very true.
1st and 25, the ball on the New Orleans 13-yard line. Manning to Muncy. And Muncy got around Boyd and Butler. And finally goes out of bounds at the 29-yard line. And he had to beat Boyd and Butler, and did. He still has a long way to go for a first down. He has to get to the 38-yard line, but it was still a marvelous run.
He did that on his own. You have a lot of missed tackles when your defense in Muncy and Galbraith.
You know, Muncy's the only NFC running back averaging more than 5 yards a carry this year among players with a minimum of 70 carries. His average 5.1. It's 2nd and 9 on the 29.
The new pension laws were driving me crazy, so I called the Connecticut General people. And did they come through for me?
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
We had some dental bills. Then my company got a Connecticut General Group dental plan. CG sure came through for us.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
Call us. We'll come through for you, too.
How many times have you wanted to pack it all in and take off? Well, with Hertz Economy fares, the time to go is now. Our subcompacts are only $14.95 a day, weekends, and just $98 a week, all with free mileage. Larger cars are only $1 more a day. And if you rent for 3 weekdays or more, Hertz has special economy fares for that, too. Hertz Economy fares. Now you can't afford not to rent from number one.
Hi, I'm Dave Jennings of the Giants. Teamwork is important in the NFL. Everyone has to work together in order to win. And quality education requires teamwork, too. Education that ensures everyone the chance to develop his or her abilities. Education, the cornerstone of our American way of life, requires the same teamwork for success. Learning takes place everywhere, in the school and in the community, all the time at all ages. Teachers and administrators may be the quarterbacks, but senior citizens, business and industry representatives, volunteers, students themselves, parents, all of us are key members of the education team. The leaders who will solve today's problems and tomorrow's challenges are in your school right now. Call your local school to find out how you can become an active member of the education team. Right, kids?
For more information, write Box 57020, Washington, D.C. 20037.
The preceding message was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. Seattle kicking off to New Orleans. Seattle leading 24-14. Efren Herrera with the ball teed up on the 35, and Wes Chandler standing in the New Orleans end zone. So there's Wes Chandler getting ready to try and bust one against Seattle. (24-14) Seattle. New Orleans trying to take a game lead over Los Angeles. The Rams playing Atlanta tomorrow night. That goes down the right side, and Holmes will take it and let it go out of bounds, but it doesn't go out of bounds. Now it does, and they'll have to do it over again, which gives us a chance to take a look at the first half and the big plays that occurred while they have to re-kick from the 30-yard line, and there you see it.
Well, on the first one, Zorn was sacked because he was dogged by Hughes, hit from the blind side and fumbled. And that set up the next play then on 1st and 10 where Tony Galbraith threw a 48-yard pass to Chandler.
Which was his second. An explosive device just went off on the sidelines to the right of the New Orleans bench. And that shook everybody up on the New Orleans side. You're looking, there it is. Whatever that was, it's about as funny as a broken leg. And that shook everyone up. Boy, that was not just some little firecracker. And the police looking in the general direction, but I have no idea what they're going to do about that.
That kind of shook the rafters.
Oh, awful. Now we can see policemen going into the stands as if they have perhaps spotted the culprit.
Yeah, some smart guy.
And if they have, adios to him. Boy, I'll tell you what, they are now searching that person's jacket.
Right.
And they're now asking the man to stand up, and they will search him some more.
You could feel the vibrations there.
I'll tell you one thing, I'm glad it landed on that portion of the field, not anywhere close to another person, and they're going to kick off again. And this time Chandler will field the ball on his own 7 to the 20, 25, hit by Pulowski and keeps on going, and he's dropped at the 29-yard line. So Wes Chandler brings it out to the New Orleans 29, and they'll put it in play 1st and 10. 24-14 Seattle. And Archie Manning, who was thoroughly frustrated in the closing moments of the first half, he had it down 1st and 10 on the Seattle 17-yard line, and finally had to give the ball up when they missed the field goal. So 1st and 10 on the 29. Galbraith and Muncie, Chandler in a slot inside Harris, but now Chandler in motion to the right. And Manning's going to keep it. He'll outrun Hardy and then goes underneath Butler and Jackson. When he saw the line, he hit the dirt and picked up the first down. You see that area on the field, that's where the explosive device, whatever it was, landed and exploded. That really could have caused a lot of trouble. And they have taken that particular fan out of his seat, and at least for questioning. So 1st and 10 on the Saints' 40-yard line. That's Tuiasosopo, who was moving. And we'll see now whether he was drawn off.
You know, penalties, the Saints have stopped themselves. They've had 6 penalties for 53 yards.
That's Sam McCullum getting his
no foul on the play, and coaching player got back before the snap. 2nd down.
So Tuiasosopo had danced across, got back before the snap, and it winds up just being a busted play. 2nd down and 11 on the 39.
That's unusual to see it called that way. You very seldom see that.
2nd and 11 on the 39. I get the feeling if you're going to see it, it'll be here today.
Yeah.
Manning deep for Henry Childs, and the tight end is inside the 40-yard line. Took a lick, and down he goes. Keith Simpson hit him along with Webster. Childs making a big reception for a 1st down in Seattle territory.
A beautiful corner pattern by Childs and a perfect throw. Watch this. Right in there among 4 defensive players. Good catch, good throw, and good protection.
And he has it to the Seattle 38. 1st and 10 for Archie Manning and company. Harris left and Chandler right. Childs, the tight end, on the left side now. A quick one to Chandler, and now he tries to come back, but Jackson wraps him up, and down he goes as Beeson brings him in.
Well, again, you can try something a couple of times. And watch Beeson. This is a quick screen to Chandler. Chandler's been cutting back. Now he cuts back, and Beeson is right over there to make the play. Beeson's responsibility is the cutback.
Michael Jackson, the cornerback, the linebacker on the left side, was the man who froze Chandler. And that gave Beeson enough time to come from the middle spot to get him. So it is 2nd and 14, the ball on the 42. Manning zipping it into Chandler, and Chandler beating Webster is dropped just about for the 1st down, I believe. He had to get to the 28-yard line, and it appeared as if he spun in there to pick it up.
Watch Chandler drive him off like he's going deep, put on the brakes. Now he comes back into the ball. It's a stop pattern. 3-man rush by Seattle in that play. Plenty of time to throw.
Manning just did get that ball. He threw it in a crowd.
Yes, he did.
So that's 1st and 10.
That's the guy he likes to go to.
1st and 10 on the Seattle 27-yard line. Harris left, Chandler right. Muncie and Galbraith behind Manning. Play action fake, and the pass low to Chandler, and he makes the sliding reception at the 15-yard line, and that should be enough for another 1st down.
That's a play where they fake the run. Watch him fake strong side. His back is to Chandler. Now he turns around and throws a low ball, leading Chandler. Chandler makes a nice catch.
So on passes to Henry Childs and 2 to Wes Chandler, New Orleans went from its own 39 to the Seattle 15, 1st and 10. Manning onto some rush, lobbing it high and deep in the end zone to Galbraith. No good. Tony Galbraith boxed in by Brown and Butler, the linebacker.
And there's
double teamed him.
And there's a flag been on the play. They dogged him on that.
And apparently against New Orleans.
This has hurt the Saints as much today as anything. Go up to this penalty event. They had 6 penalties for 53 yards. They're stopping themselves.
Holding number 66, offense, still 1st down.
Well, Dobler's back in there. They need him. They missed him prior to that. Here it is. There it is. Dobler holding.
So 1st and 20. The ball on the Seattle 25-yard line. And Tinker Owens is wide right. Harris left. So Chandler's out for a breather. And a draw to Muncie. And he's bumping and bouncing off people. And they make him pay a price for it.
You know, we used to have an expression on certain backs, and it applies to Muncie. Muncie is never down. You can't take for granted that he's stopped or he's down. He's that great a back.
You can see Manning's numbers, 12 for 16 for 142 yards, but Jim Zorn is 11 for 16 for 214 yards.
Archie's are really better than that. He lost a couple of clutch plays then on penalties.
2nd and 17 on the 22. Chandler is back in there, slot right with Harris inside Chandler. The backs delay and then go out. Manning all kinds of time, but everybody guarded. He throws in the end zone. No good. Brown tripped with Harris. No penalty call.
You know, on that play, I don't know whether we can see it, but nobody covered number 42, Muncie. Muncie was wide open. See if we can see this. It'll be in the right of the screen here. We can't see it.
Pass could not be caught. Therefore, no pass interference.
No pass interference. Brown and Harrison. Look at Jack Patera. He did not like the interpretation. The interpretation, as the official spoke, was the pass could not be caught.
No chance to catch it.
Therefore, no interference. And Patera is steamed.
I haven't heard that one before.
So it is 3rd and 17 from the 22. 24-14 Seattle. 10:08 in the 3rd left, and the crowd is angry. Manning in the left corner, no good. And now Chandler is arguing that he had been interfered with by Cornell Webster, but there's no flag.
Now that was good defense.
Autry Beeman talking to Wes Chandler, and another picture of a disappointed Archie Manning.
And the penalties have stopped the Saints. They haven't been stopped so much by the Seattle defense. They've stopped themselves.
Ed Burns will hold at the 30, so Yefremian will be asked to kick a 40-yard field goal. The spot, the hold, the kick is up, and this time he's good from 40 yards out. So that picks up 3 for the Saints, and now they trail by a touchdown with 9:57 in the 3rd quarter, 24-17 Seattle.
America, the world is waiting.
Healthy spaces, glowing faces, a life that's full of life.
Your world is waiting, and Visa is there.
You're traveling, you're moving, you're giving more to life.
Wherever life is good, you're making it better. And Visa is there for traveling, shopping, and cash. Visa is the most widely recognized name in the world. Visa, we're keeping up with you.
Stanley makes saws to cut any job down to size. Cross-cut saws to cut across the grain. Rip saws to cut along the grain. Compass saws for odd shapes. Coping saws for curves. For precision cuts, back saws. For metal, hack saws. Stanley saws are made with tough, tempered steel and selected hardwoods. Then packed in a protective sleeve packed with information.
Stanley, we want to help you do things right.
Buy any of these specially tagged saws and get up to a $1.50 rebate from Stanley.
Next Saturday, it's heavyweight boxing action when the CBS Sports Spectacular features the WBC's 3rd-ranking challenger Mike Weaver taking on hard-hitting Scott Ledoux. Plus, the battle of the NFL cheerleaders. You'll say you saw it on CBS Sports.
And we also have a pool trick shot exhibition with Willie Mosconi and Minnesota Fats, all upcoming next Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the CBS Sports Spectacular. The kick fielded by Jeff Moore at the 4, to the 15, to the 20. And he's going to be stashed there by David Gray at the 20-yard line.
You know, in that last kickoff return, usually you don't have the time or the quickness to leave your blocking. You're better off to stay with your blocking and go right up the field. That's what happened to Jeff Moore.
Hooks up there to knock it down. Reese is 6'6" and 250 out of Jackson State, and that right hand just knocked that pass to smithereens.
If you can't get in, get your hands up. And that's good on a quarterback who's not too...
1st and 10 for Seattle on their own 46-yard line. They started on their 35. Remember, they made that big 4th down play to keep the drive alive and keep the ball. 13 minutes left in the game, and Seattle leading by a touchdown. Second man is Moore, hit and buried by Fultz. So Mike Fultz, 3 years out of Nebraska, making the tackle.
I'm sure that Patera's thinking on going for that 4th and inches in his own territories, that our strength is our offense. We're having trouble stopping them on defense, so we'll gamble and take the chance and try to keep the ball away from Archie Manning and company.
So 2nd down and 8. The ball on the Seattle 48-yard line. Moore goes out. There's Sam McCullum testing his right hand. Remember, he tripped and fell down, and Hughes stuck him to make sure he stayed down, and he twisted his hand. Largent in motion. There's Dorning, and a bear hug by Fetterspiel brings him down.
You know, Vin, what the Seattle team does, they line Largent up in various positions. They send him in motion. They do everything they can to get him one-on-one and use his good hands and his quickness to get open. Now, that time he was lined up at left halfback in the backfield, and they sent him in motion.
And it's paid off because Largent has caught 8 passes for 111 yards and 1 touchdown. 3rd and 7 on the 49. Rabel is wide left, McCullum in a slot inside Largent right. And it's Moore and Dorning behind Zorn. Zorn under some heat, and the ball is deflected, but Rabel catches it, and Tom Myers brings him down.
Well, they had a good rush on. Zorn barely got the ball off. Real good pressure. And usually that underneath pattern is not going to pick up 7, 8, 9 yards.
We'll see if we can spot the hand that might have deflected it. Might have been Tom Hughes, 54, Pat Hughes, and it was an end-over-end ball that was finally caught. The whistle is blown on that squeaker going back to Herman Weaver.
Officials blew the whistle as the ball was trickling back.
No play.
I didn't hear what he said.
He just indicated no play. So on a 4th and 6 from midfield, Seattle will have Herman Weaver punting and Wes Chandler standing all alone on his 11-yard line. Weaver has been averaging a little bit better than 40 yards a punt, his longest 60 this year. Standing on his own 35. And it's blocked, and it's blocked by Holmes, and it will be recovered by Seattle.
It doesn't make any difference.
On a 4th down.
Right.
Coder fell on the ball, but it is Holmes, number 45, who broke through to block it, and it's a big play for Jack Holmes. 2 years out of Texas Southern to smother Weaver's kick.
Well, we were talking about this at breakfast, that Thunderfoot has had 3, 4, 5 punts blocked this year. Here he is. He's in there. Nobody picked him up. He used a good technique. Here it is again. He's right in, gets both hands on the ball. Seattle recovered, but it doesn't make any difference.
By trying harder to be faster, Avis came up with the Wizard of Avis.
Keep on trying, America. The effort is really everything. We keep on trying, America.
By trying harder, we introduced speed to the rent-a-car business.
At Avis, we don't give up. Trying.
We put a car in a cold room at 0 degrees Fahrenheit. 5 hours later, minus 20. 8 hours later, minus 30. And it still starts. The Die Hard, the battery that lives up to its name. Only at Sears.
Down in a crouch there, number 45, Jack Holmes, who played briefly at Houston, also British Columbia, 2 years out of Texas Southern, and he has just come up with a big play to block Herman Weaver's punt. That's the 3rd Weaver punt blocked this year. Atlanta blocked 2. So it's 1st and 10 on the Seattle 34-yard line. Archie Manning now looking for a touchdown to get even. And there goes Tony Galbraith to about the 25. He almost lost the ball. He bobbled it momentarily, but then regrouped.
Yes, he did. Looked like he was going to fumble, and then he put it away. That was a good call by Manning. Straight ahead now. The Saints have to take advantage of that play if they're going to get back in the ballgame. You can't let a block punt go down the drain without putting points on the board.
2nd and 1 on the 25-yard line. Chandler wide left. Harris right. Harris in motion. And it is Galbraith spinning as he is grabbed by Tuiasa Sopo, and he picks up the first down at the 21-yard line.
They sent 82 Ike Harris in motion. I was always worried about Ike Harris in this area of the field because of his height. He could take the ball away from one of our small corners if the quarterback laid it up there, and Jim Hart used to do that.
Harris is listed at 6'3". So 1st and 10 on the Seattle 21. There's Ike Harris, flank wide left, and Chandler right. Manning on a draw, and Muncie looking for daylight, and on his own he fumbles. Manning recovered. Archie Manning recovers the fumble on the 19-yard line.
Well, you know, this happens when watch 42, Muncie, when you're trying to fight for extra yardage and you're spinning and you're turning. See how that ball's exposed? Now he puts it in the other arm. Now he loses it. Usually backs that are fighting for that extra yardage will fumble like that. And Archie Manning, to his credit, was following the play. Some quarterbacks stand around. Archie was following the play, made a big recovery.
They picked up 2 yards, so it is 2nd and 8 on the 19. Manning got it off, and he got Henry Childs, and the big tight end goes inside the 1.
Well, you know, Vin, on that play, he wanted 89, and they doubled 89. They rolled weak to Chandler's side, and right away Manning came off. He knew that Childs was going to be one-on-one.
Keith Simpson injured on the play.
On Simpson's. Real good reading and keen by Manning.
I think what happened, Simpson in throwing more of a block on Childs to tackle him, and as he went down, Terry Beeson came right over on top of him, and so Simpson shaken up. Keith, their first-round draft choice, and he'll come off and go to the pits for repairs. And for New Orleans, a big reception by Henry Childs makes it 1st and goal from the 1. So they were thwarted earlier on a 4th and 1 that busted on the 23 of Seattle. Now they're 1st and goal in the 1, driving for a chance to tie it up. 8:34 left in the game. 3 tight ends, and Muncie's going to go in. Touchdown. That's the play they wanted to use to go to the direction of the 2 tight ends, Hardy and Williams, and this time it worked.
Off-tackle play, good blocking. Muncie's power, scores easily.
For Muncie, his 9th rushing touchdown of the year. Now, of course, the all-important point. And remember, New Orleans had Yepremian miss a field goal inside the 30. He doesn't do that very often, and that really is the difference now.
And, you know, Archie Manning's recover of Muncie's fumble was a big play in this drive.
And how? So Muncie TD. Meanwhile, on the sidelines, they are working now on Boyd. And, of course, we mentioned Dennis Boyd is hurting. Bill Cook is out. Bill Gregory sprained his knee, but he's playing. So the front 4 are taking quite a beating for Seattle. 74 is Tuiasa Sopo. 71 is Eller. 77 is Gregory. And that's Dennis Boyd. Boyd out of Oregon State. And very slowly getting up. He's a big man. He's 6 feet 6 inches. 255. And a little wobbly as he goes out.
I think, man, he's a better man on the inside than he is on the outside. I think he'd be a better tackle than a defensive end because his characteristics and everything are a little bit more suited. You have to be a little bit quicker to play the outside to rush the passer.
So now the all-important point after for Garo Yepremian. Coming in, he was 24 out of 25, and he has kicked those that he has been asked to kick today. The spot, the kick, it's up, it is good. And so, with 8 minutes and 25 seconds left in the ballgame, we have what it figured to be. 24-24, Seattle and New Orleans.
In the United States, Ford Fiesta was voted most significant import of the year.
Dag nabbed if it don't stretch a gallon of gas better than any German import in America.
In Germany, Fiesta was voted car that makes the most sense.
Ford Fiesta comes from Germany with front-wheel drive.
In Italy, it was named most successful foreign car.
Lazaro, Sofia, Bambino, Mama and Mia.
Ford Fiesta, honored the world over.
Ein Wundercar.
Julie ready to go?
Are you kidding? Hey, you want to play hockey?
We got a new TV scoreboard game from Radio Shack.
Sure.
Radio Shack's fast action TV games. Play hockey, tennis, squash, and more. Easy hookup to any TV.
I'm ready.
A great gift idea. And they're on sale. 6-game model, just $29.95. 4-game model, $19.95. An exciting entertainment bargain for year-round fun. The sale price TV games. Only at Radio Shack.
Thanksgiving Day at 12:30, the Chicago Bears invade Lion Country for a holiday showdown with Detroit. You'll say, you saw it on CBS Sports.
Well, it figured to be a wild game, and it is. 24 all. 8:24 left in the game. Tony Green from his own end zone to the 15-yard line, to the 20, and down he goes at the 21-yard line. So Tony Green,
that's all right,
fielding the kickoff and returns it out beyond the 20-yard line. And Seattle, having just given up a touchdown because of the blocked punt, now trying to regroup and rally. 8:14 left in the game. 24-24 tie.
Well, here's a big series for Zorn now. They haven't done much this second half.
Zorn with a 1st and 10, the ball just shy of his own 23-yard line. Moore and Dornick, the running backs. McCullum right and Largent left. Play action fake to Dornick. And Zorn deep down the middle, and Felton is going to drop it. Eric Felton had an interception and couldn't hold on to it.
He had him covered. He's playing him loose. Actually, he played him the way he should. Here's another bomb, 1st and 10. Zorn's been very successful, 1st and 10, going deep on Felton. Now watch him overthrow the ball. Felton should have had this right in his hands. No chance for the receiver to get it.
The receiver, Steve Largent. And as you mentioned, Felton had been burned earlier both by Largent and McCullum. So he was a good 5 yards in front of Largent that time, and it almost paid off. 2nd and 10 on the 23. A 24-24 tie. 8 minutes and 8 seconds left in the game. Zorn under some rush by Grooms. A little screen to Dornick. And I believe he just dropped it. I don't believe it was a completed pass. No pass. Pat Hughes broke it up and almost picked it off.
Exactly, Vin. That's just what I was going to say. Hughes came right in there, played that perfectly. Watch 54 come up. Took the blocker on, and the blocker hit the receiver. That's his experience playing that screen pass. He read it all the way. Nice play by Pat Hughes.
Here's a very big play for Jim Zorn now. 3rd and 10 from his own 23. If he can't budge and they have to punt, New Orleans will be in good field position. So a big one for Jim Zorn.
Let's see who he goes to here.
In motion is the tight end Peets. Zorn under some rushing, a wobbly pass to Peets. To the 35, to the 40, to the midfield.
You know what? That's what happens when you have a guy that they don't use. You cover 83, you cover 80 Largent. Now this is the tight end in motion. Nobody covered him.
Look at the pass.
Yeah, now he almost drops it. Now watch this. He stayed with it. Now he shows some powerful running. What a big play.
So Brian Peets handling a wobbly, almost an end-over-end dying bird thrown by Jim Zorn. And it's 1st and 10, a big play on the New Orleans 49. Zorn faking once, throws to Dornick, coming back. And Dornick is on his way to the 35-yard line. Myers brought him down at the 35.
Well, you know what he did? Smart. The last time we talked about Pat Hughes breaking up the screen. Now they fake that screen over there and throw a double screen against the grain, and watch Dornick turn it on. Nice tackle by Myers.
So to the 35-yard line. Remember, it was 1st and 10 on the Seattle 23. Then they had that big 3rd and 10 play that made it to Peets. Now they have it 1st and 10 on the New Orleans 35. Zorn Gonna go deep to Largent. He's got it. Touchdown. He beat Clarence Chapman.
Well, they dogged on it. One-on-one.
So Largent with his second touchdown pass of the day, and he now has a half a dozen for the year.
One-on-one situation. Nice move. Largent has tremendous moves. See the dog? Becomes a one-on-one. A guy like Largent's tough to cover one-on-one because of his moves.
Well, we're just warming up. We have 6:16 left, and since that big pass for 35 yards puts Jim Zorn over 328 yards, he has now passed for 10,000 in his career. They should make the announcement in the ballpark as Herrera kicks it through.
Ben, and I believe what you said, there's only been a couple other quarterbacks that have done that.
That's right. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Joe Namath and Norm Snead are the other two.
A good quarterback does his homework on and off the field. That's probably why the three of us are all drinking light beer from Miller.
See, Light's got a third less calories than the regular beer, and it's less filling.
Plus, it tastes great. And you know it's important to have a command of facts like that.
It's mental discipline, really.
You're darn right. Because if you know every position, every option, every formation, you'll never get your signals crossed.
Hey, that's my beer, Terry.
Oh, no, this is...
Yeah,
No, wait a
well,
minute.
give me
This
this
is...
one.
You big
Wait a
turkey.
minute.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and
I
less.
didn't feel my label.
Next August, I'll be an air traffic controller. Guaranteed.
10 months from now, I'll be training in electronics. Guaranteed.
Even if you're still in school, you can join the Army now and take up to 12 months to report for duty, with your choice of training guaranteed in writing.
Next September, I'll be in Europe. Guaranteed.
This is the Army, and we're giving guarantees. Call this toll-free number now.
There they are. On the left of the screen, Steve Largent. On the right, Jim Zorn. That combination just helped to go 77 yards for a touchdown. A 35-yard pass from Zorn to Largent gives the Seahawks a 31-24 lead with 6 minutes and 16 seconds left. What a ball game as Efren Herrera kicking off. Wes Chandler is deep. He has Wilson and Holmes up in front of him. Herrera signals he's ready. And it's an onside kick. It is still loose, and it is still loose, and Seattle recovers. Recovered, I believe, by Michael Jackson. Yep, number 55. Michael Jackson recovered the onside kick. Herrera is now 3 out of 4 of onside kicks this year, and 7 of 11 in the last 2 years.
He had to have a little luck on that one.
So Michael Jackson falling on the loose ball, and Seattle pulls the onside kick and gets away. Steve Rabel injured on the play. Injury apparently to the right arm.
Well, there's so many people going for the ball, it's easily to get injured on a play like that. It looked like the Saints had it at one time.
So Jackson recovered it, and Seattle has it first and 10. Just shy of their own 40-yard line.
2 gambles today, both paid off for Seattle.
6 minutes and 14 seconds left in the game. Here comes Moore. He has Newton out in front of him. And as he tries to get inside Newton, he is hit by 2 Saints, Tom Myers, along with Brown.
Ray Brown. Ray Brown, 27, does a heck of a job of forcing. They got him from Atlanta in a trade, and he gives them the physical type of safety that you need. I like him. He's a good football player.
You know, Joe Ferguson passed for 367 yards against the New York Jets. Zorn so far has passed for 360 yards. He has given up 18 yards in sacks. His previous record, 329. 2nd and 7 on the 43. Little swing to Dorning. And he gets to Fetterspiel, who spins him around and decks him at the 45-yard line.
Nice play by Fetherspiel. He cut back, and it looked like he was going to go against the grain. Fetherspiel got him right around the waist and brought him down. Big play, because he could have broken that for some yardage.
But Dan Dornick, who was doubtful, is playing quite a ball game with bruised ribs.
This is a big series for the Saints defense here. They've got to stop him to give Manning some time.
3rd and 5. The ball is on the Seattle 45-yard line. 4 minutes and 50 seconds left.
They're going to run out of time, Vin.
Yeah, the 30-second clock is down to 6, and they call timeout. So Seattle calling a timeout, and Jim Zorn going over to Jack Patera. With 4:44 left, Seattle 31, New Orleans 24.
October 25th, 1854. The British Light Brigade is ordered to attack from the flanks, but muddled orders result in a frontal attack, wiping out half the brigade. Someone was not listening. July 2nd, 1863. Confederate General Longstreet misinterprets General Lee's orders to attack, advancing 3 hours too late. A listening error that may have altered the course of the Battle of Gettysburg. The fact is, whether it be in battle, government, or industry, not knowing how to listen has always been one of man's greatest problems. And we at Sperry feel it's high time we recognized it, that we set up listening programs in our schools and businesses. And lest we forget how critical a problem it is, all we need do is look to the night of April 14th, 1912, when the crew of the Titanic was urgently warned of ice, but chose not to listen. Sperry, we understand how important it is to listen.
Guess who's coming to dinner tonight? The whole family's back for Thanksgiving, and have they got news?
I was fired, Arch.
A special 1-hour Archie Bunker's place tonight.
Seattle 3rd and 5 on its own 45, leading 31-24, and 4 minutes and 44 seconds left. We can duck in a final. Tampa Bay 31, the Giants 3. So 3rd and 5 for Jim Zorn. In motion is Largent. Zorn rolling right down the sideline. The catch is made, and knocked out of bounds is Jesse Green, but no good. There's a flag on the play as well.
Zorn wanted to throw short on it. He wanted to hit Largent, and it could be the offensive man pushed off. Let's see that. Well, we can't see it now.
The flag came long before any contact.
Yeah, I think the offensive receiver pushed off of the defensive man. Here it is. Now you see 80 going short. That's who he wants. He's contained here. He can't run. He throws deep. That's what it is.
So that's a big play to go against Seattle. It was a 3rd and 5. Jack Patera, implacable as he looks on. 31-24 Seattle, 4 minutes and 37 seconds left.
Interference number 86, offense, still 3rd down.
So it was Jesse Green, the pass receiver, guilty of the interference. That moves the ball back to the 35-yard line. 10-yard penalty to make it 3rd and 15. 4:37. Now David Gray comes in, and they take Brown out.
And you know, Ben, right here, the pass rush is more important than anything else. The good pressure. Let's see who Zorn tries to go to.
Dornink and Moore out of the eye behind Zorn. McCullum in a slot left inside Largent. Play action fake to Moore. Zorn throwing on the run, and it will be broken up. It was deflected by Tom Myers. It was intended for Steve Largent, and it was Myers who got his hand up. He's quite a ball player, that guy.
He is. He's a good, steady safety. When we did the Saints game, he didn't play against the Rams. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
They missed him. Zorn went to his favorite receiver, Largent, and he was covered, but they also had good pressure on him. He had to throw off balance.
So even though Seattle was thwarted, having cashed in on the onside kick, nevertheless, they bought some time now. Weaver, who's had one blocked, is going to pass out of the punt formation to Rival. And Rival was tackled at the 40-yard line. How about those gambles?
3 gambles.
Herman Weaver is 3 for 3 this year in passing out of punt formation.
Boy, oh boy, look at that.
Look at that.
Wide open.
And Steve Reibel, who had been injured on the onside kick, is finally brought down by Schwartz. What a gamble, and it paid off. And it is 1st and 10 on the New Orleans 40-yard line.
Boy, does the defense hate that? They've made a great series. They stopped them. Now they're back on the field again.
And they gambled 3rd and 15.
Boy, oh boy.
So 1st and 10 on the New Orleans 40-yard line. McCullum is in motion to the right. Second man is Dornink, and there he goes. Dornink might very well have picked up the first down as he is tackled just shy of the 30-yard line, and I believe he did.
Really, that's what they should do now is grind it out. Don't take any chances. Give the ball to their most reliable back. Keep the clock running.
That's what they did last week against Cleveland. Seattle held the ball for something like 7 minutes, just grinding it out, and Cleveland couldn't get their hands on it. Actually, 7 minutes and 29 seconds they held the ball, and thanks to the onside kick, they're trying to do it today on an onside kick and a pass out of a punt formation, and meanwhile they're getting very close to Efrain Herrera's home territory. 1st and 10 from the 30 with 3:10 left in the game. 31-24 Seattle. Dorning straight ahead into a crowd. Reese and Bennett among others tying him up.
You know, a 10-point lead would be hard to overcome with this time element on the clock. You know, the other gamble, of course, was that 4th and 1. So they had 3 big gambles, all in their end of the field. Everyone paid off.
They had a 3rd and 10 on their own 23, and remember the pass to the tight end Brian Peets. That was a big play.
Yeah.
So Seattle pulling them out of a hat here today and tormenting New Orleans 31-24. 2nd and 9, the ball on the 29 of New Orleans. And as you can see, 2:20 left in the game. Largent in motion. Second man is Moore. Can't find it inside, tries to go outside, and Hughes and Bennett bring him down.
You know, now on that last play, nobody covered Largent short again. Largent went in motion. It'll be interesting to see if they use that to pick up the first down.
We don't have the actual time, but Seattle has had the ball just short of 10 minutes in this final quarter.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Timeout gives us a chance to remind you about Monday night on CBS. Peanuts Gang and the award-winning special, A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. Then MASH, there's trouble when Hawkeye and BJ are caught behind enemy lines. And don't forget Shirley MacLaine and Anne Bancroft in The Turning Point, nominated for 11 Academy Awards. Monday night at 9, 8 Central and Mountain. Tomorrow night on CBS.
You know, Vin, the strategy here is, do you go for a pass and try to pick up the first down, or do you take a safe play, give the ball to Dornick, pick up what you can, and kick a field goal? That's the strategy that Seattle is talking over now. Defensively, here's Dick Nolan and his gang talking, hey, what do we have to stop? You see? I personally, I would take a safe play and try to kick a field goal for a 10-point lead rather than gamble for the first down on a pass, maybe have it picked off, figuring 10 points would win the game.
Of course, you said rather than gamble, and that certainly has not been Seattle's story. There's a man, we should put him on a plane and send him to Vegas, because he has been rolling dice, pulling the ace out of the pack, and he is leading 31-24 with 2 minutes and 8 seconds, and of course that's head coach Jack Patera of Seattle.
And
Seattle,
go ahead, excuse me.
I was just going to say, had a magnificent Monday night game with Atlanta, and this is the kind of a game they're playing again.
Very similar.
3rd and 8 on the New Orleans 28. Motion is McCullum. Zorn just did get away. Passes to Moore. Moore is inside the 15-yard line, down to the 11.
Yeah. He was almost sacked. Good rush. Got it away. Nobody covered Moore short. Let's see if we can see that again.
So from a 3rd and 8, they go to 1st and 10 on the 11-yard line. Seattle 31, New Orleans 24.
Motorcraft battery, it's all right. Saved my life one dreadful night when I told Big Dutch I want to fight. He said, how about now? He broke a table over a chair. I went from a coupe to go anywhere. My lights had been on while I was there. Motorcraft, don't fail me now. I turned the key as he came through the door. My Motorcraft made the engine roar. Then I heard Big Dutch as he stamped and swore. Gonna get me a Motorcraft battery for sure. Motorcraft, for sure.
The world's most advanced twin-blade razors are only as careful, gotcha, as you are. The Norelco rechargeable rotary razor has 36 surgical steel blades, carefully protected by 3 floating heads, and a unique shaving angle for a very close shave wherever you are, without a nick or a cut. The choice is yours. The close, careful Norelco rechargeable rotary razor, or 2 blades and gotcha.
Early today, the Ayatollah Khomeini talked to an American newsman about the hostages for the first time since the crisis began in Iran. You'll see it tonight. Mike Wallace interviews the Ayatollah Khomeini tonight on CBS 60 Minutes. And by the way, for the viewers in the New Orleans area, 60 Minutes will be seen right after the game. For our West Coast viewers, 60 Minutes will be seen at its normal 7 p.m. time. So here come the Seattle Gamblers. 1st and 10 on the 11. They ought to be on a riverboat the way they've been playing today. Largent in motion to the left. Zorn faking to Dornick, gives to Moore with Newton and Zornick blocking, and Jeff is down to the 5-yard line. And we should tell you a little bit about Jeff Moore. He has caught 2 passes for 41 yards, and he has carried the ball 15 times for 69 yards. He is the biggest single surprise to come out of the game today.
He's done the job for him. Really impressive.
He's a rookie out of Jackson State. We'd like to thank our producer, Perry Smith, our director, Tony Verna, Dr. Bob Woods for all of his statistical help, Gary Moore helping us up here in the booth. Seattle leading New Orleans, 31-24. 1 minute and 13 seconds left. Zorn, play action to Dornick, and now he rolls, passing to Peets. Touchdown, Brian Peets, the tight end.
Listen, Peets showed us something there. With hands like that, he made a great catch. Watch this catch. Play action, fakes a fast trap, rolls out to his left because he's left-handed. Watch this catch.
His first touchdown catch of the year.
Oh, boy.
Well, that makes it 37-24 Seattle, and time has just about run out on New Orleans now with 1 minute and 6 seconds. Brian Peets catching the touchdown, and now here's Herrera's point after. Zorn holding, and it's good. So with 1 minute and 6 seconds left in the game, the Seattle Seahawks, who did not score in the 3rd quarter, lead 38-24.
America, the world is waiting.
Healthy spaces, glowing faces, a life that's full of life.
Your world is waiting, and Visa is there.
You're traveling, you're moving, you're giving more to life.
Wherever life...
Ramada O'Harian in Chicago. He puts a lot of emphasis on people. He even lives here in his own apartment. And because this Ramada is also Carl Hurd's home, travelers find it's a nice place for them to live, too.
Nice people taking care of nice people. Ramada, all over the world.
Seattle leading New Orleans 38-24 with 1 minute and 6 seconds left. The touchdown pass. What a day for Jim Zorn. 23 out of 34 for 384 yards and 4 touchdowns. Herrera knuckles one on the ground, and it's fielded there by the end Williams, and he brings it back to the 48-yard line.
Well, you know, this is a great victory for Seattle, assuming they win. They probably will. It's a tough loss for the Saints. They've played well enough to win, and New Orleans is such a great sports town that they really support this team.
Tampa Bay defeated the Giants 31-3. That's a final. And look at Houston, leading Cincinnati 35-21 with first-string quarterbacks hurt in that game. San Diego ripping Pittsburgh 35-7 in a must game for San Diego. Archie Manning has 1 minute and 1 second left. Over the middle to Henry Childs, and it's broken up. And of course, for New Orleans, all they can do now is go home and hope that Atlanta can upset the Rams tomorrow night.
That's right. They really had to win this with their remaining schedule to stay in there, and they played well enough to win. I think the big thing that beat them today was penalties in critical situations.
And the fact that in the fourth quarter, Seattle wouldn't give them the ball. We understand that Seattle has held the ball for over 12 minutes of the final quarter.
I'll bet that's a league record.
Final score, Kansas City 24, Oakland 21. 2nd and 10 for Manning. Little swing to Galbraith, chased by Eller, bumped by Pulowski, and inside the 40 before he is brought down by Tuiasosopo and Keith Simpson.
Boy, these backs, Galbraith and Muncie, run well. We talked about having a lot of missed tackles, and they're the type of backs that make tackling look feeble.
For Dick Nolan and company, a most discouraging day because their schedule is so difficult. They more or less figured they had to win this one. They have still to play Seattle, Oakland. Well, Seattle's almost over and they're going to lose. Then they have Oakland and San Diego. And New Orleans has the worst interconference record of any team in the NFL. They will lose today. That means they will have won 3 and lost 24 to the AFC.
Well, you know, Jack Patera and his staff made some clutch calls today. Gambles, everyone came through, and that was really the difference. The Saints, on the other hand, played well enough, but the breaks went against them in the penalties. Now, most of the penalties that were called that we reran on the replay were there. The holding penalties were there. But many times the officials might not see them and call them. So part of it is the element of luck.
And the first time New Orleans got the ball, remember? 3 electrifying plays they scored. But here they are buried now, 38-24 with 46 seconds left. Manning under a rush by Tuiasosopo, throws to Childs, and Henry is inside the 15-yard line as Cornell Webster brings him down at the 14. We have 34 seconds, 33, and they're going to have to hurry up to get a play off. Naturally, Seattle taking plenty of time getting back into position. 22 seconds left. Manning, play action fake to Galbraith. And he's going to be buried by Hardy and Tuiasosopo. He threw the ball, but according to the rules, he was in the grasp of the tackler, and the play was blown dead. A final score, San Diego 35, Pittsburgh 7.
You know, then you were talking about the clock running down there. Manning, after that completion to Childs, should have used his timeout. He wasted about 15, 17, 18 seconds there. Getting set, getting his offensive team set. No sense in saving that timeout when you're behind like this. Use it, save the time, use as much time, save as much time as you have. Don't worry about the timeouts because you need 2 scores to get back in anyway.
And talking about time, we are not going to waste any. As soon as the ball game is over, you folks in the New Orleans area will see 60 Minutes, a most important program it is indeed tonight. And for those of you on the West Coast, of course, 60 Minutes will be seen at its regular time. 38-24 in favor of Seattle. For Jim Zorn and Jack Patera, a big victory and a heartbreaking defeat for Archie Manning and Dick Nolan. And a most exciting game for the big crowd here at the Kingdome. For the Seahawks, they must be delighted to play so well because the last time they played at home, things were so dismal. You remember they couldn't get a plus yardage against the Los Angeles Rams, and today they've gone wild.
Minus 7 yards.
2nd and 17 from the 21 for Archie Manning with 13 seconds left. Manning looking and throwing in the end zone. No good. Chandler almost picked it off. It was intended for Ike Harris. That stops the clock with 6 seconds left. So Archie Manning came in here having completed 67 of his last 100 passes. But today, just a little bit better than 50%, 16 out of 26 for 249 yards and 1 touchdown.
Usually it's good enough to win.
There was also a breakdown up front because Manning was sacked 3 times today, and he had not been sacked in a while. In fact, only once in the last 5 games. 3rd and 17 from the 21. This will probably be the last play. Over the middle to Muncie, chased by Butler. And he's going to go down at about the 6, losing the ball out of bounds inside the 5. The clock says the game is over. So from the Kingdome in Seattle, this is Vin Scully along with George Allen. Hope you enjoyed the fireworks. Seattle down 7-0 in the early going, exploded for 38 points and defeat New Orleans 38-24. And so the Rams now have a chance to take a game lead tomorrow night. The NFL on CBS, a presentation of CBS Sports.
This is CBS.